What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The countdown is on now, just 8 nights away from WrestleMania. 40 years of WrestleMania, and it all kicks off 1 week from tonight with the final show before Mania, Smackdown. That leads into the Hall of Fame. Now, for this upload, we have to start with an update. There was 3 big uploads on the channel yesterday. Big shout out to every single one of you guys that caught 1, 2, or maybe all 3 of those uploads. Now, the last upload we put up late last night, and it had to do with a wild situation between former WWE talent Dana Brooke, now Ash By Elegance in TNA, and words that she had regarding Tiffany Stratton, current WWE talent and highly touted prospect for World Wrestling Entertainment. And it was wild because what was said caught everybody by surprise. So before we get to the update on that situation, here's the clip from last night's upload. I'm going to play that for you guys now. This was as the story was developing. This was in last night's last upload on the channel. Let me play that real quick. It's roughly a minute and a half-ish. So play that first, and then I'll give you the update to this story. So Natty has a harmless message over to Dana Brooke, and it's just, hey, your swanton bomb is fire, right? Because there was this clip of Dana, of Ash By Elegance doing this swanton, and Natty wants to compliment the move. But of course, fans get wind of this, and they start chiming in with Tiffany Stratton comparisons. So, without knowing it, Natty sets off this firestorm. So, Ash By Elegance responds, "Funny thing is, I've been doing it for years, and she loves to steal everyone's moves and gimmicks. Knock off Barbie." Now, she's referring to Tiffany Stratton here, guys, in case you're wondering. Knock off Barbie, bro. Those are gloves off words. But to say that she loves to steal everyone's moves and gimmicks, that tells you that this has been talked about not just by Brooke, that this has been conversations for the ladies. So Tiffany Stratton, who has a huge support system, fans and other wrestlers, there was a lot of backlash to Ash. So Ash responds to the backlash. Haters are always going to want to at me, but the first ones that want a picture with me. So she wasn't backing down, she was doubling down on her words and even going after the, quote, haters. Okay, so now fast forward to today's upload. We have the update. Now, Ash By Elegance is now, damage control looks to be in play here. Ash By Elegance is now claiming that this was all character work, and she is shocked or surprised that so many people took this seriously. That so many people didn't know that she was supposedly in character. This is what Ash By Elegance says, and I quote, "Y'all are ruthless. It's called character. But clearly everything is taken so seriously. If you know Ash By Elegance, you would know she is self-centered. If you know me personally, you know I give mad props to Tiff for all her work and what she's accomplished. Sad, I have to explain this." Where do you... Wait a second. Whoa. What is happening here? So now that's the story we're going to go with. This was all character work. How does this help Tiffany? If you're in character selling a story, the goal is to make everybody look prosperous, correct? Build on the story you're telling so that we pay money to see that match at the next pay-per-view. What's the story between Ash By Elegance and Tiff Stratton? There's no match in the future planned. I doubt very much. I know that some TNA talent during the Royal Rumble, Mickie James 1 year, and then Jordynne Grace this year. So good to see both of them, by the way. Always have loved the TNA women's division. It's just always firing on all cylinders. That's another story. But I doubt very much that Paul Levesque McMahon is orchestrating a Tiff Stratton Ash by Elegance matchup after they just released Dana Brooke last year. So this is one of those scenarios where who are you working? Why is there a story being set in place by your character for WWE's Tiffany Stratton? And furthermore, this is not just a little bit of shade where Tiffany can have some fun with this if she chooses to. She's literally called a knockoff Barbie. I mean, that sticks with somebody. And on top of that, the claims that she stole moves and gimmicks, that sounds much deeper than character work, which again, we have to remember, Tiffany's not even in the same company, and she's getting absolutely slammed by Ash by Elegance. I mean, these are harsh critiques and words if she's in the same company. The fact that she's not, and you're being accused of stealing wrestling moves and gimmicks, those are some heavy words being levied. And then when she sees the heat that's coming from it, again, Elegance doubles down, says haters gonna hate whatever it is. And now all of a sudden, she's in character. This was all character work. Let's just play that for a second. Let's just assume, right? And when we assume, right, the spelling is right in the word. It makes an ass out of you and me. That's what happens when we assume. But let's assume that Elegance was just in character. Wouldn't the whole point be to get everybody talking? You said yourself, Ash by Elegance is self-centered, right? Egotistical, I'm assuming then, right? Narcissistic, all that stuff. Great! You got everybody talking. Everybody is throwing that shade and that hate. Isn't that what you want as the bad guy? Let's get everybody fired up, right? I mean, this was character work. You're throwing heavy artillery at the WWE female division, Tiffany Stratton, and you got everybody worked up and talking. So once you got that type of heat, you got burned yourself? You had to cool off the heat and tell everybody that it's all a work and you're just in character, everybody relax? Why would you start it if you couldn't take the heat? If the kitchen's getting too hot all the time, get out of the kitchen. You're not going to be a good chef. I don't understand why you would call out your own or break up your own character work. Why you would shatter your own whatever imaginary storyline you have with Tiff Stratton. I mean, you're saying that you did this to get the heat, to get everybody talking. And when it was too much, now you're just going to blow it all up. I mean, you literally just ruined your character. You're explaining what your character is because too many people believed in your character, believed in your supposed work. It's contradicting. Which is it? You can't just do something like that, and when it works to perfection according to you, all of a sudden you have to expose the character and what you were trying to accomplish. Because you literally went on the social doohickey machine and you literally just ruined your own character by exposing it. I don't understand. This is obviously, I'll give you my take on this. This is obviously Dana, and she had these feelings on Tiffany Stratton. I mean, knock off Barbie, and she steals moves and gimmicks. That's pretty damn personal. I think we can all come to the conclusion that that's beyond character work. And if Ash by Elegance truly thought she was in character doing that or saying that to Tiffany, that's just horrendous character work. And that's showing now because she even had to expose that character work and her own character. So this was just a botch from top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end. So we'd have to just come to the conclusion that this was just how she felt about Tiff, probably, obviously, should not have been said the way that it was said anyway. And then it was damage control. And now we're just going to resort back to, oh, wait a second, this was a character. How are you guys not understanding? This is my character. You just called somebody from another company a knockoff Barbie who steals moves and gimmicks. You're pretty much, you're ripping away at the wrestler of Tiffany Stratton, man. That's like a baseball player claiming that another player on the opposite team is stealing signs. You're calling in, you're questioning their character. You're questioning their moral system. You're going beyond the Tiffany Stratton character. You're saying that pretty shitty person to be stealing moves and gimmicks. You're peeling back the curtain and you're talking about stealing moves and gimmicks? It's the equivalent to saying the other person on that team is stealing baseball signs. And they're like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not stealing anything. I'm looking straight forward. I'm not looking at the catcher and what signs he's putting down. So this is obviously a little bit of damage control by, and if you missed the upload last night, I've always liked Dana Brooke. Not saying she's a favorite wrestler or anything like that. I understand why there's a disconnect with the majority of the crowd. I always feel she was misused, though. Like many individuals, especially for the females, you can claim that and say that because it's true. It's justified. They're misused. They don't know how to work the ladies into these programs, and they always put them in the oddest positions. So the thing I always liked about Dana Brooke is she always tried to improve, and I feel did along the lines. The fact that she lasted as long as she did is telling. You know, they were seeing that hard work. It just never connected with the crowd. And that happens. Charlie Flair, Charlotte, is pushed to the moon on all the programs, the side of the trailers, all that. And a lot of the crowd, BC included, just doesn't connect with Charlie Flair. There's just that lack. So whether it's, you know, everybody just wants to point at like Dana Brooks, but what about Charlie Flairs and people like that? There's a lot of individuals that don't connect still to this day. And they have to tweak out and find that ingredient that is going to make that recipe something that people are going to want to sit at that table and enjoy. But I've always liked Dana Brooke. I'm really high on Tiffany Stratton. So that's why this story just befuddled me from the beginning. But now just for Ash by Elegance to claim that this was just character work and then expose that. So if it's character work, you should be loving all this hate. It worked. Everybody's talking. Again, I would have to highly question why you're going so hard at somebody that's not even in your company. You might want to save that for a storyline within your company. You know, build somebody else up so they can retaliate. I mean, Tiffany's not going to be able to just retaliate. HHH isn't going to allow that. She knows that. She has the PR teams going, no, just let it be. Or as of this recording anyway, early on a Friday morning, there's been no word by Tiffany Stratton. So that shows you that she's, you know, I don't think Tiffany Stratton took this as a laugh. That somebody in another company, who they are not good friends from what we are being told, by the way, guys. This is not just two buddies. So this person who's in another company, not your friend by any means, from what we're hearing, and she's just saying you're a knockoff Barbie who steals wrestling moves and you steal wrestling gimmicks. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton's probably not going to go, oh, she's in character, guys, relax, it's wrestling. And then even if you were in character, why blow up your own spot when the kitchen got hot? You're in the kitchen. It's gonna get hot. The hotter the kitchen, probably the better food is coming out. You got a lot of things going out on that floor. That restaurant is bumping. You know, for TNA to bump, let's get these characters rocking. Again, I don't know why she's coming after Tiffany Stratton so hard, but she found that opportunity to just throw a zinger. Maybe it's a little bit of just a little bit of animosity, a little bit of jealousy that, you know, she was there for so many years. And then here comes Tiffany. This other blonde bombshell comes out of nowhere, but this one is actually connecting with the audience so quickly. And where Ash by Elegance had to go to TNA and she's not getting all those headlines. And it's kind of like, what is she doing that I don't have? You know, she just stealing moves. That's just a knockoff Barbie while I'm busting my ass. You know, it's probably one of those things. Anyway, that's a massive update because, again, Ash by Elegance, after first doubling down and saying haters gonna hate, I said what I said, basically. Then, all of a sudden, hours later, she retracted it and said, no, guys, relax. I'm just in character. I'm just absolutely, I'm just rocking on WWE female talent instead of my own. It's just odd. I think this was just a botch by Ash by Elegance. Every which way you look at it, even if she was actually in character, it's one of those things. But you know, we wish her the best, man. I still like Dana Brooke Ash by Elegance, and hopefully she could get back in character actually and start really fun stories and little mini wars with people within her company. That's the advice I would give. And for Tiffany Stratton, stolen moves or not, it's working. Keep rocking. If anybody thinks that you actually stole their move, they can have a chat with you, and you can have an adult conversation over a nice filet mignon and a nice 9-ounce glass of Pinot Grigio. Other than that, we're going to move on and hope that they do the same. Undertaker. This is a really cool story, guys. So the Undertaker recently talking about his undefeated streak and who he would have liked to have broken that undefeated streak, and it is none other than Bray Wyatt. You know, I never really took myself to even think of that scenario once Lesnar defeated Taker. That was pretty much it. I never played the fantasy game in thinking, man, if it was this person or that person. But to hear Undertaker talk about it, pretty damn special. Listen to this, guys. Undertaker says, this is a quote, "If it wasn't Roman taking the streak, by the way, we all know it's Lesnar, but he was talking about Roman taking it. If it wasn't Roman, because that was a big option, I think the most logical person to break it would have been Bray Wyatt. It would have meant more to his career than Lesnar and even Roman. For Roman, it would have been very special. But for Bray, when there were so many comparisons between our two characters and the darkness and all of those different things, for him to be able to have broke it would have been such a feather in his cap and something that could have extended the character of The Undertaker in a different capacity." So that is the utmost praise you can give. Twofold, first of all. Threefold. Number one, even saying that you would prefer to be Bray Wyatt over everybody else. Number two, just the fact that he's claiming it over Roman, who is the guy in WWE, has been for years. Whether you like it or not, I understand, but the machine is proclaiming Roman as the guy. And even Undertaker is going, well, Bray's the guy for me. And the third fold here, why this is just epic, is that he is saying that Bray Wyatt, even at this stage in Undertaker's career, winding it down, he is saying that Bray Wyatt would have elevated The Undertaker, would have, and I quote, extended the character of The Undertaker in a different capacity. So a whole nother aspect of The Undertaker, Bray Wyatt could have derived that out, could have pulled that out. How cool is that? How many people can you say, working with this dude, it would make me better? It would extend my character. Bray Wyatt is that guy. I just think that is just listening to Taker speak so highly of. I remember, I don't remember exactly which Raw, but it was on a Monday Night Raw. Bray Wyatt, maybe he had just come back from like a hiatus. Undertaker was in, it must have been one of those reunion Raw type deals. But Undertaker and Bray were in the same ring. Taker whispers something into Bray's ear, and you could tell Bray was just like, you know, it meant a lot to him, and Taker took off. And for BC, it was just, I love those type of characters. You know, Bray got bashed for the supernatural aspect of his character, but those are the type of things that made BC fall in love with pro wrestling. I didn't fall in love with pro wrestling to watch bangers. I didn't fall in love with pro wrestling to watch 25, 30-minute matches of wrestling competition. I never took it like it was a real sport, or I'm actually watching two dudes fight and watching a real winner and a real loser. You know, I suspended the disbelief, or as I call it, suspending belief, and I entered the wacky world of pro wrestling because of the larger than life characters, the storylines that jumped off the TV. And those characters were just, I mean, you could have Papa Shango casting voodoo spells on the Ultimate Warrior, and I was glued. You go into the teenage years, younger adulthood, and you have the Undertaker shooting lightning bolts out of his hand, or being reincarnated at the Royal Rumble against Yokozuna. You guys remember that? I mean, those are characters and moments that you can never forget. You probably went back and watched 1,017 times. So watching Bray Wyatt at this stage in my life, BC said, you know what? That's the dude I'm rocking with. He's fun. It's entertaining. He's doing all this outrageous things where if I'm going to suspend disbelief, take me to your wacky world and let's have some fun. Bray Wyatt is doing what The Undertaker used to do. Extend that. Pro wrestling is based on those situations. Pro wrestling is based on those characters. Pro wrestling is based on those segments and storylines. But instead in 2024, 2023, 22, 21, and beforehand, for the last 10 years, we see this new kind of shift in pro wrestling where the fans just want to scream, "This is awesome! Fight forever!" at 25-minute bangers. I mean, I can only see so many of those before I'm like, well, this isn't really fun. I can watch 1,012 matches at the local bingo hall every week that are great wrestling matches. But what is truly captivating me anymore? It's not Canadian destroyers, suicide dives, moonsaults. It's not flaming tables and people going through them. It's not steel chairs and trash cans being thrown at people's dome pieces. It's just not. I don't need to pay $300, $400, $500 for a ticket to scream, "This is awesome," at every single match that's performed in front of me. I just want to be absolutely captivated. I don't want to enjoy professional wrestling. I want to be captivated by pro wrestling like I used to be. And that, pro wrestling in and of itself, is something that does not discriminate on age. Every single age range used to be captivated by pro wrestling in the 80s, in the 90s, early 2000s, the golden era to the attitude era to the ruthless aggression era. Everybody was captivated no matter the age. From, I would say, about 2013, 14, 15-ish, it started to take a turn. Big time. And I can't say it was for the better. Bray Wyatt. Man, Bray Wyatt. He took a lot of crap for all of his supernatural, all of his thought process, creativity, and everything that goes into it. He took a lot of crap for it. But the ratings told you. The ratings told you that he was the highest rated segment every single time. It was him and Roman, and a lot of times he defeated Roman in the ratings. He was the only person to twice during a multi-year range. He was the only person to defeat Roman Reigns in merchandise sales at that time. It was all Bray. So the talking heads in the community, the ones that were spearheading the "this is awesome" era, if you will, they got it wrong. They were speaking for the minority because the majority, Bray Wyatt was captivating us. And when The Undertaker tells you that that was the guy, BC, and I know a lot of my Amplified unit, we absolutely agree with The Undertaker because he was our guy. I mean, you could have Monday Night Raws filled with non-stop wrestling, right? 3 or 4 matches, 15 to 20 minutes of match length apiece. But it would be a 2 to 3 minute Firefly Funhouse that we were talking about the next day, right? It was Bray Wyatt who was captivating you. No matter what he was doing, that's when you were dropping what you were doing, and you were in tuned to what he said, what he was doing. Bray Wyatt. And that is why when The Undertaker, one of the most iconic, one of the most legendary figures that pro wrestling will ever see, decades ago and decades to come, when The Undertaker heaps that amount of praise, that's when you know this dude is special. And that's what BC saw in this guy all along. Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. The brightest part in an otherwise dismal 3 hours most Mondays. He was that shining bright spot in 3 hours of, oh, here we go again. Awesome to hear The Undertaker speak so highly. Somebody that is spoken so highly about, like The Undertaker, speaking so highly about Bray Wyatt. Man, it makes you think what could have been, between those two. In fact, later in that same interview, Undertaker actually spoke about even after Bray would have beaten or defeated his streak, he feels that they could have been some diabolical duo going forward. Like they could be some union. Imagine Taker and Bray Wyatt doing some tag team matches. Wild. Moving on. SmackDown's preview. Or do you want to go to Vince McMahon first? We'll end it with the SmackDown preview for tonight. We'll go to VKM. VKM sold another roughly 3.5 million shares worth $100 million, guys. 3.5 mil TKO shares gone. This was within the last 3 weeks. At the top of the month, he sold 412 mil, and late last year, over 700 mil. So McMahon went from 15 to 11.5 million TKO shares remaining. That's a value of roughly $300 to $350 million left. So that's what remains for VKM, $300 to $350 million. How is this dude gonna survive on only $350 million when it's all said and done? All kidding aside, that shows you this dude is planning his escape, man. You know, I mean, I say that in a joking way, but where's all this? What's he doing with all this money? You're talking 412 over here, 700 over here, another 100 mil within the last 3 weeks. He's got 350 left. And I told you guys when he first started distributing for his 700 mil late last year, I told you guys this sounds like an exit strategy. This sounds like somebody who is slowly but surely already starting his plan to get completely out, and he is selling little by little. Basically, he is cashing out. And now looking back at it, he had to have known that storm was pretty much coming. With all the accusations and the legalities, all of that. So you have a dude now that's literally just, he's selling it all. I mean, with 300 to 350 mil left, I know that is a platoon of money most of us will never see in 150 lifetimes. But for McMahon in the empire that he built, to have that 300 to 350 and that's it. Like, that's it. When that dries up, you're done. And TKO is going to be more than happy to give you Das Boot. So maybe Vince, being the asshole that he is, he'll probably leave like 20 million left. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to stick around with a few million left in shares. Just sounds like something he would do. But man, to cash in billions of dollars within a 6-month time frame, this dude's planning some type of an escape, right? This is like a P. Diddy situation. Now, I don't know if Diddy turned himself in or made himself available to authorities, but last I heard, and I haven't been following this story vividly, but it's vivid enough that I'm hearing about it in certain circles, that P. Diddy has a lot of accusations against him, and he took a private jet, and he took off, and the jet went off the radar, and Diddy was MIA. Now, this was days ago, so Diddy might be back on the radar with his jet. But Diddy flew for a minute, or at least that's what it seemed like, because there were a lot of conflicting reports, and Diddy was nowhere to be found. So this is Vince McMahon is all right, before shit truly hits the fan, let's make sure we got the jet ready. It's fully gassed up. and we have he's got his little hideout place ready somewhere far, far off the coast. And Vince McMahon, you just get that feeling that one day you're going to get that story and in other news, Vince McMahon is MIA. Overnight, over $2.5 billion was taken from 17 offshore accounts, and his family was left with a note. And Vince McMahon just took off. But all seriousness, man, joking aside, in all seriousness, this dude is absolutely liquidating his own assets. And could you just imagine Could you imagine just waking up and going, I think I'm gonna cash this in for $100 million more, right? The dude's already sitting on $1 billion plus, but he's like, I think I just want an extra $100 million today. I want to buy some stuff. This dude just cashes in for $100 million. Wild. All right, let's go over to the Smackdown preview. What do you guys say for 3/29/24? Good Friday. So Smackdown, the big story for tonight's show is Jade Cargill debuting. We say debut. She was at the Rumble, obviously. She's been behind the scenes, like deciding which contract she wants to sign. Mostly she's been Smackdown behind the scenes. Like you could just tell that she was going to be Smackdown exclusive. But then again, this company doesn't really honor the brand split, so you'll see her wherever they need her on any given day. But Jade Cargill, for all intents and purposes, this is going to be her actual debut, SmackDown exclusive. So that's the big storyline. How are they going to use her? With 8 days before Mania, are they going to thrust her in a WrestleMania match? Like, just catapult her with no time remaining, basically. Only one SmackDown is left after tonight. But, I mean, it's better than nothing, maybe. I mean, after that Rumble appearance, it's wild to think that she's not even going to have, like, a 2-minute squash match at Mania. You know, she goes in there with Nia Jax, delivers a bicycle kick, lifts her up, gets the whole crowd of tens of thousands, like at Royal Rumble, in the palm of her hands. I mean, that's a moment. You just gotta think. But Nia's Raw exclusive, Jade is SmackDown exclusive, so I don't know if they can even do that now. Again, they don't honor the brand split. I doubt Nia Jax shows up. But it's going to be so rushed. Is it going to be believable? But Jade Cargill tonight, it'll be interesting to see what they have planned for her. Other than that, it's one of those weeks, just like 2 weeks ago, where it's just tag team heavy, and the rating shows you that doesn't work. So even though we're getting closer to WrestleMania, I don't have high expectations for the rating the next day. Or it's over the weekend. By Monday morning, I really don't, because it's just so tag team heavy. You have 2 matches in this WrestleMania tag team title match opportunity. I guess it's a mini tournament. And it just seems never ending. It feels like we've been doing this for months. This is just a tournament to set up number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 contenders for tag team titles at WrestleMania. This is what I mean about we see too many tournaments in wrestling. We're just doing it for no reason now. We're throwing tag teams in there to have a tournament to decide who's the number 1 through 5 contenders. Not even number 1 contenders. A bunch of teams can win this thing, and they're all advancing into so we still have 2 matches, guys. Street Profits versus A-Town Down. Theory and Grayson Waller versus Street Profits. And then P.D. Dunne and Tyler Bate versus LDF. And then you have Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Pretty Deadly. So the build for Logan Paul's U.S. title match with Orton and Owens is just Orton and Owens having weird, nonsensical tag team matches with teams like Pretty Deadly. That's not fun. Just, you know, you're hoping for a lot more. That's why I said Randy versus Logan, that's all we need. Build up that story between the two. No, you throw in Owens, and now we're just doing the faces in a tag team. And that's really it. I think that's it, guys. For the ladies, they have Belair versus Dakota Kai. So we expect Damage Control to get involved, and maybe Naomi makes the save for Bianca, like Bianca made the save for Naomi last week. So that's pretty much, I mean, any 5th grader with a Post-it notepad and a crayon could book that. So this is not looking like a promising SmackDown, but we will be tuning in and hoping for the best. I'll be doing my due diligence on the notes at some time over the next 24 hours, maybe even late tonight. I'll have that review up for you guys. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.